Hello, my name is Maria Almal, currently working as a research manager at WeClean Private Limited and also as a co-lead for ISWA YPG Pakistan chapter. I welcome you all to the first episode of our web series titled Achieving Decarbonization in the Waste Sector, which is an effort of WeClean Private Limited in collaboration with Circular Plastic Institute and ISWA YPG to fight climate change.
WeClean Private Limited follows sustainable waste management practices with the vision of circular economy. We transform organic waste into compost, we segregate recyclables for resource recovery, and we convert waste cooking oil into biodiesel. In a world challenged by climate change, we stand at forefront of sustainable waste management practices. Join us as we explore decarbonization in waste sector, where every action shapes a greener future. With WeClean expertise and real-world examples, discover how organizations can transform to low-carbon waste management, reducing footprints and boosting efficiency.
Hello everyone, I am Shiza Aslam, Director and Research Head at Circular Plastic Institute, short for CPI. Situated on the academic side of academic practitioner ecosystem, CPI aims to establish an ecosystem for circular economy in Pakistan.
Hello everyone, my name is Haniya Jalalipur and I am the chair of the Young Professional Group of the International Solid Waste Association, ISWA. The Young Professional is a special initiative within the structure of ISWA. It's an international network of young waste professionals under 35 years old who have a genuine interest in sustainable waste management and the transition toward a circular economy. Young Professional mission is to make global connection among young people to share knowledge and ideas for improving waste and resource management practices. The YPG has several active groups, and the creation of this webinar series as a knowledge pool and educational resources is an effort of the online discussion meeting group.
This web series is a joint venture of WeClean Private Limited,
Circular Plastic Institute,
and the ISWA YPG.
as a commitment to greener future.
We have gathered experts from all over the world to talk about the potential of reducing greenhouse gas emissions in the context of waste management. We will be exploring all aspects, including organic and non-organic waste fractions, explore versatile case studies, and also how policy, economics, and engagement can make an impact. So let's start off with the basics. The ways in which we generate, handle, and dispose of waste have a far-reaching impact on our planet's fragile climate balance. Just beneath the surface of our daily routines lies a complex web of consequences where seemingly mundane decisions about what we throw away and how we do it can significantly contribute to the rising greenhouse gas emissions and hence sea level rise and extreme weather events. Decarbonizing the waste sector is a journey that emphasizes the critical importance of rethinking waste management in the context of rapidly changing climate. Beginning decarbonization efforts in the waste sector is crucial to reduce its contributions to climate change, for which we need to educate professionals, especially the young ones, to develop localized and informed strategies.
In the waste sectors, whenever we talk about the greenhouse gas emissions, it often refers to processes or practices that either avoiding or destroying potential methane gas productions to be released to the atmosphere. So it's sort of one is proactively, or the other one is passively try to address the methane gas emissions. And now, obviously, methane gas is one of the key greenhouse gas that accounts for about 14% of global methane gas emissions, and in US it's about 9.8%. So it is significant numbers, and now although it is a very relatively short-lived gas in the atmospheres, but the global warming potential is about 25% greater than carbon dioxide. So, it is certainly is a good target for us to address.
Talking about prioritizing a focal point, one should begin with identifying the source of the problem. In this case, the source of greenhouse gas emissions.
Though really when it comes to the types of emission sources and the way methane is generated, it can be quite the same across the board. So maybe just organizationally, I'll split the kind of types of emission sources into maybe two buckets. So the first category is from combustion. So there's a number of combustion sources kind of coming to and from the landfill and operating at it. So you have your collection vehicles, which oftentimes could be vast fleets and are typically fossil fuel based, usually diesel. And then the equipment that you have on site. So you have a number of kind of heavy duty equipment ranging from compactors to dozers and other vehicles that kind of live and operate at the landfill. And then of course, if you're collecting the landfill gas and burning it, you're converting the methane emissions to CO2. And then the other kind of broad source is the degradable organic fraction of waste, which in most places is greater than 50%. And that organic waste, as you know, could be, of course, it's food waste, and that's the biggest fraction of the organic waste, but it's anything that could decay, from paper and cardboard to wood, linens, even though it takes a long time, also will eventually degrade. And those, they break down for the anaerobic decomposition of waste.
In the complex tapestry of waste management, one common thread binds us all: the urgent need for sustainable solutions that protect the environment and combat climate change. Whether in high-income or low-income nations, the challenges of waste sector decarbonization are interconnected. As we delve into the possibility of a unified policy, we explore how diverse countries can collectively shape a path towards a cleaner and greener future, while respecting the unique circumstances and capacities of each. This journey underscores the potential for global collaboration in the pursuit of common environmental goals.
Look at it, the genesis of policy would help all the governments around the world to have one unified language, one unified mechanisms, one unified approach, and one unified targets that each one of us can contribute.
Understanding the nuances and disparities between low and high income countries is paramount when crafting effective decarbonization strategies in the waste sector. These differences span technological capabilities, waste composition, cultural factors, and economic realities, all of which influence the feasibility and success of decarbonization initiatives.
Well, the only irony between us and the developed country is that we go and see the road shows. We go to the developed world and see how they have developed waste to energy project. Has anybody thought how much time it has taken them to reach there? For me, I keep on saying, just copying these models is like just talking of PhD without passing your school. Step by step. First, achieve your collection efficiency.
Waste management you cannot replicate of one country to another country. Waste management means being in the condition and applying according to your system, right? Of course, the only difference is municipal laws are there and they are implemented.
Well, based on what I experienced with countries that have been, I think one of the most important, at least I feel that a lot of time it is not the technology that is a handicap or the factor that contribute to failures, but it's how do you change people's mindset to, for instance, operating a dump site and then suddenly you ask them to operate a sanitary landfills. the people are difficult to change their normal way of doing things or change their behavior. I'm almost a behavior psychology here.
In the waste sector, decarbonization efforts are gaining momentum globally. Many countries and regions have recognized the importance of reducing greenhouse gas emissions from waste management. Initiatives include the expansion of recycling and composting programs, investments in waste to energy technologies with emission controls, and improved landfill gas capture systems. However, progress varies widely with more advanced practices prevalent in high income countries compared to low income regions, where challenges such as limited resources and infrastructure persist.
We are very far away from that, you know. So when we talk about decarbonization, I want to be very honest with you. In books, awesome. Practically, nothing at all happening in Pakistan. You know, look at your home. What are you doing? Where do you ever think about, you know, your carbon footprints? Not at all. Do you talk your kids about carbon footprints? No, not at all. Do you ever go to the restaurant and you refuse to use straw? No, you don't. Why? Because you think that's, you know, that's a daily thing. So everything begins from your home. If you are not taking care of small things in your home, it's never gonna, you know, on a larger scale, it's not gonna help the country. Vehicles, I myself is a big contributor of CO2. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, as I said, like the 15-year or 10-year-old vehicles I'm using, what they are, you know, emitting, total pollution. You know why I'm doing this? Because it's not a third world country, because it's a fourth world country. Pakistan is becoming, and fourth world country that's what it's about. You know, we used to talk about Rwanda, and now people talk about Pakistan. What's happening over there in this field? You know, if you have a chance, go to Rwanda. My goodness, you'll be spellbound to see what they are doing to their country, because you know there are laws and laws are getting implemented. So if you provide businessmen like me an even playing field, of course, a carrot and a stick policy need to be there. You know, first the government needs to, you know, provide people the basic amenities and then make it happen, implement the rules.
After recognizing the sources of emissions, there needs to be a fully developed strategy that can serve as a guide to plan the decarbonization action.
First of all, we need to understand that the focus on waste and its decarbonization has been ongoing activity since the turn of the century. We have seen that the waste from the different industrial processes, such as heat, has been reused for power generation and other cycles. And it has been a hallmark of different power generation sectors, different industries. But as we move towards the solid waste, that is one of the core area for this network as well. We have numerous challenges when we talk about solid waste reprocessing, resorting, collection, and reuse. One of the biggest challenges is the decarbonization of the process itself, which is energy intensive in terms of utilization of resources, collection of the waste, its sorting, as well as upscaling and redistribution. So all of these processes have to be reviewed in the form of the decarbonization process chain, and how we can mitigate some of the carbon emissions involved within this network of reuse and recycling.
Now we have sorting, disposal, recycling, and so on and so forth. So when we talk about achieving carbon neutrality in this sector, we basically require comprehensive changes across all these procedures and activities, right? So that's one thing. The other challenge that we face as a sector is that each of us is a waste generator. And so when we talk about changing consumer behavior to reduce waste generation, when I talked about the waste hierarchy, when we want to promote recycling or adopt sustainable practices, it's extremely crucial and also challenging, because it's so many data points, it's so many people that we're trying to reach, right? So again, it becomes very complex when we want to talk about, say, achieving the 2030 agenda.
Navigating the road to sustainability is not without its challenges, and understanding these obstacles is the first step towards overcoming them. From shifting societal attitudes to overcoming technological and financial barriers, the road to a more sustainable future is fraught with complexities.
In the solid waste management sector, unlike the other, I would say, subsectors under climate change and climate action, you would see that solid waste is an intersection of environment problem, social problem, and political problem. So I think this is the challenge and this is the opportunity again. And I thoroughly believe in our current age, entrepreneurship brings in solutions for all of this and also converts these challenges into opportunities. So if you really look at the sector as a whole, that is solid waste management sector, clearly there are challenges with one, the volume that we are dealing with, which is directly proportional to the growth in our population across the globe. Second, into the material sciences, the more the growth into material sciences, we are dealing with materials which we do not know how to recycle. Third, if you really look at the whole value chain itself, that is all the way from collection of the solid waste to processing it and then bringing it back into circular economy, I think these are the challenges that exist today, which is why you would see some of our numbers are way higher in terms of millions of tons of plastics leaking into the environment, both into your mainland environment and marine environment. Similarly, you would see lack of infrastructure in the back end, leading to transport and export of global waste across countries, and some countries becoming the dumping ground for the other countries. Now, lastly, piecing all this together is the policy itself, which is where the global instruments such as the INC, COP, and all of these are instrumental in helping these further, not just the technology side of it, but access to better finances and building the ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurs.
Just a few words to wrap up. And this is for any aspiring young professionals, entrepreneurs, females, but also anybody else, everybody actually, who are considering a career in waste management. It's a very exciting sector. It's a multidisciplinary field that is intersecting with engineering, with science, with social science, policy, and so much more. So I encourage you to join it. Be curious, open-minded, because you can learn from so many different disciplines and apply it to the solutions that you're providing. And I would say always be ready for any opportunity that comes your way. So say yes to opportunities, embrace it. And if you make mistakes, learn from them, move on. And always remember that each of us has the ability to make a difference and has the opportunity to make the difference.
Decarbonizing action in the waste sector presents a unique opportunity to mitigate climate change while unlocking economic and environmental benefits. By embracing sustainable waste management practices, countries can create green jobs, recover valuable resources, foster innovation, and transition towards a circular economy. This shift not only bolsters environmental stewardship but also spurs technological advancements and promote international collaboration. In a sense, decarbonizing the waste sector is not just an obligation, but a pathway to a greener, more prosperous future.